All right, let's do a little bit of a sound check here. You guys should be seeing me. You should be hearing me. Let's check. Yep. All right, good. Well, we are hanging out, and I am trying to catch up on a lot of stuff. Some of you guys that have been following along, we've still got to. I've got to put out the official Unit 13 course. We did meet last week, and we did talk about it, but I'm going to put out the official one. And then today we're doing Unit 14, and we have a guest speaker coming. So if anybody wants to join our Discord, we've got a free little Discord, right? That thing's popping around doing whatever it's doing. And we've got, if you go up here to the top left of the Discord, you'll find the Linux Systems Administration course. It says that there's 66 people coming, but we had at one point about 208. And then Discord wiped it, so that was fun. Oh, I don't know why it's not showing me. There we go. There I am. But they wiped it. So since they wiped it, we only have 66 people say they're coming. But, you know, it's a free course. It is what it is. You can go in there and you can start, even though you'll probably feel a little behind when you start to see some of the stuff that we're working on. All right, so what was I doing right now? I was cleaning up my different sections. So I'm going in here to my Unit 13, and I'm cleaning up right now the presentation, and then I'll also open up the worksheet and the baselining. Man, I don't even know what I have in here, so let's go see what I got in here. This is the other one. Yeah. I gotta do this one from scratch. I thought I had one started for this though, so I might have to go check. Let's go check if I have one of these already started. No, it's in Linux group. And then it might be originally this. No. What was last week? Or the week before? We were doing, system baselining benchmarking. We've done updating systems already back here with the package stuff. So with system hardening, we'll do something a little different. Okay, fair enough. Let's go change some of this. This will say Unit 13 now. And then we'll start working. Super annoying. Come on, what the hell? That's annoying as shit. It's like, get on the edge of the fucking screen like everything else. I don't understand. Okay, so chillin' spree. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I'm kind of back. I'm trying to stream a little bit and get. It's kind of funny. I was watching our numbers on Discord, and I don't think we've lost people in Discord since maybe like before March. And the last few days we've not had anybody new come in. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. Normally we have at least like a certain amount of people. Shunya and Chris over on YouTube, how's it going? We are, we're just straightening things up here. We're not working too hard just yet, but I'm organizing the course for this. I'm organizing last week's course today, and then I'm also going to start the next one. So let me make sure I have these things the way I want. Last week will be 12. This week will be 13, and I'll start writing these out. Yep. And then worksheet will be that, and then lab will be that. Good. Topics of discussion for this week will be hardening systems. Well, this will be last week. And then the purpose of hardening, when and how we harden systems, initial deployments, change management. A big part of the initial deployment will be pipeline, which this will, right? So we'll talk about the pipeline and automation a little more later, today now. Also, we have a guest speaker coming today, and he is very good with Ansible, and he's going to be telling you about Ansible and some of the systems and stuff that kind of go into that. So if you guys are wanting to get into that kind of stuff and wanting to see how that works, obviously we've got our stuff that shows you how to do it and our courses that are out there, but then also M-Pesa is going to be here to tell you guys about it a little bit from the kind of the enterprise side of things. Um, Ladybug, you said, will the course beginning again in January? No, Ladybug, I'm not going to run this course again in January. I feel like this one took a lot out of me. So, like, because I've just been building this course for like the last 13 weeks now, 14 weeks now. But what I'm going to do, Ladybug, is I'm going to leave it up on the Discord so people can always use it. People can always go in there and do Discord and work through it and find answers to stuff. But I'm gonna find another way to get people through it. Also, all the recordings are up on YouTube, so technically you could do the course on your own. If we do start it again, it probably won't be until about June as far as like a formal running through it. And I talked to some of the guys about it. I would be okay with doing it as like a short little intensive. But if we did it as like a short little intensive, it would be a lot of work for people because this is about 6 to 8 hours a week worth of work for 16 weeks. So, I mean, maybe even close to 150, maybe 200 hours worth of total work if you do it all. And if I were to shorten that down to like a month, let's say, and then we just did like long talks and had people do work, I might kill people. People that are trying to work too much through the stuff, they might just find that their heads explode. So I don't think it's that bad. But what I'm saying is it might be too much for people. And I don't want to overwhelm people because this is very attainable for you guys. You just have to spend time getting better at a lot of this stuff. So let me keep working on my topics. So purpose of hardening, and then I come down here, and then how do we harden systems, or what's our purpose of hardening? We harden systems to a standard, and that's a security standard when we deploy them. And then we can use our own standard or find one that properly applies a security posture that aligns with our company's acceptable risk profile of systems. Okay, so then when we harden is during the deployment. Let's do how we harden first, and then tools, standards. And the standards that we normally use are the STIG benchmarks. STIGs are secure, technical, implementation, guide, right? Normally in our stuff like this, we'll do this. So STIGs. And then there's also the CIS, which is the computer. What is CIS? Hold on a second here. Center for Internet Security. I always forget their name. Okay. And then, whoops. So we'll say standards. Let's put this here, and then we'll do tools after. So we'll put tools down here. Oh, I do want all that, but I don't want that here. Let's duplicate this slide real quick for a sec. That's gonna come into something I'm about to talk about here in a little bit. These are my notes from a drawing I gave you guys a while back. Some of you guys remember this drawing that I did where somebody was asking like, well, what's a golden image and why do we use golden images? And then I talked to all the pieces. Yeah, actually, you're one of the people I think that's been kind of keeping up on it. I kind of had to fall off the last week and a half because of my dissertation work, but I'm mostly through all that, and then dissertation's going to go for the next 2 years, but the intense part of it is done, so I'll be able to get back to this. Boris, yeah, the dissertation's going. I'm checking grades. I don't really care about grades much. I just need to make sure I pass. So D's are all I care about. I'm an A/B student for my doctorate, but I was a straight A student for my undergrad and my master's degrees, but my doctorate, I just have too much stuff going on, so it's like, I don't really care that much. You guys want to see something that is cool, though? I'll show you guys something cool. I mean, well, some of you might not think it's as cool as I do. Hold on. This one was fun. Give me a second here. This happened last night. Where is it? Somebody tagged me in it. Hold on. And I'm like, tag me? Why are you tagging me and shit? Hold on. Copy image. Can I just save the image? Save image as... We'll just throw it in downloads. Yeah, that's fine. It could be a JPEG. We'll just open it up here. Oh, look at that. I've been on the job 9 years. That's the first time getting an award. So I just hit my 9 years with the college, and I got my first little faculty teaching award. So that's kind of cool. I mean, that might not be as cool to everybody else, but like, I mean, my mom liked it. Now, I had some people on Facebook that were like, "Yeah, that's cool," and I'm like, "Yeah, I got an award." It's not like a money award or anything. It's just like a. So colleges, I don't know if you guys know, but like colleges use all kind of metrics to track. I mean, a lot of people probably have worked in jobs where they're like, "Yeah, we got your metrics of how long you're on a call and how many closure rates you have of sales," and like, you know, people are always dealing with metrics. But colleges use weird metrics that, like, I mean, you can't really control some of them, and in that, like there's like a completion rate, like if you complete my course or not. Well, I can't make everybody complete my course. But there's also, like, I think some, I don't know all the ones DeVry uses actually, but like I remember one of my older colleges when I worked at ITT Tech long ago, it was like, how many students finished the course, how many students did something. I think it was just past week 4 maybe, because those were the only ones that counted towards the final. Was if they didn't make it to week 4, it wasn't your fault, basically. How's it going, Colchis? I'm just showing you guys I won an award for work. That's kind of cool. This is my moonlighting job, right? I'm an engineer during the day, and then I teach at night. In fact, the last 2 hours I was working for my company Redline, and then I was like, oh shoot, I'm gonna hop on and stream a little bit while I prep stuff for today. So, because I do want to get this stuff done. But anyways, let's get this. This was our golden image. I drew that up. All of these things, right? Like all these, when I draw these things and stuff, all of these notes, I know they look all random. These are all up on the Discord. This is the idea of why we learn ITIL and some of these other things, to learn how to play the game, right? But anyways, so this is these notes and stuff. They're all up there. So let's go back here. Purpose of hardening system standards. These are the primary ones, but then the tools, right? The tools that we use are typically like OpenSCAP. So OpenSCAP, and then Workbench is a tool that we'll use there. And then what's another one? We use the SCC tool, scanning. And if you guys wanted to see, if you were like, well, could you show us how some of that works? Well, we've got out on the Killer Coda site, right? So Killer Coda is this free site where you can go and you can, oh, it's bright, do all kinds of stuff. In our section of Killer Coda, at Tanis, you go to our Linux boxes, right, and our Linux labs. At the very end of our little Linux labs, hold on, very end of our little Linux labs, we've got just setting up an SCC stig. So if you guys wanted to do this with me, I'll link it to anybody that wants to do it. I'll do it real quick for you guys to show you, because I want to show you. This is part of how we harden a box. This isn't every. I mean, there's a process. Actually, I need to draw out the process, so I'll do that here in a second. But there's a process to how we harden. We take a baseline, we harden the box using tools and individual commands if we want, and then we verify functionality, and then we re-harden and we assess: are we at the level that we want for the security posture of our organization? So hold on. So your team is to integrate with the U.S. government system. I don't know what that government system is, but you have to integrate. There's a security requirement that you need to stig your servers to a certain score. Now, there's a score that's going to come out of this. I'm going to show you guys what that looks like. You have decided to use an SCC tool to scan your servers to see where they are before any remediation. So we scan, we see where we are, we get a baseline. We make our remediations, we test it to our standard, and then we go back and do it again, right? It's a cyclic thing. And while we're doing that, we're making sure we still have the functionality, because there's those two steps that I always tell you guys as engineers. It's got to be fit for use and it's got to be fit for warranty. That's this ITIL concept. Fit for use is, does it check all the boxes? Is it still a web server? Is it still functioning on port 80? Well, if one of the STIG standards says you can't use port 80 anymore, you have to use 443, now that standard's no longer attainable because you can't use port 80, you got to use 443, right? Where I'm going with that is now you're at what's called an impasse. One of you two has to break. Either the standard or either the goal of your organization, your fit for use, has to change the use case, the functional testing, or security has to break and has to say, well, I mean, I can't drive the car with a boot on it, so no boots. Drive the car without. You guys ever seen a boot? It's that little thing that like locks a car in place. I actually saw a Jeep one time driving with a boot on it. That was funny because his wheels were so big he could just. Anyways. All right, so let's do this real quick. I'm going far afield. We'll make some directories. We'll download their tool, right? Wait. Did we get? We got an error. Can't download it. Oh, interesting. Oh no, we got it. That's fine. As long as we download it, I don't care what the error responses are. Okay. Oops. Yeah, here. That's weird. It almost looks like there was an error in the downloading of that. Like we got the output of the name, but yeah, we didn't get it downloaded. All right, so the lab is busted, and it's busted because let's go check the SCC. Let's go see. There's something. It was a valid file as of last week when I did the lab last. maybe they've stopped letting people download it directly. Here's some new scap content. Here's the tools. So this is a tool that we need. We need the Ubuntu one. So the Ubuntu one is right here, right? Uh-oh, hold on. Is it, did they update the version? Yeah, so look, as of December 3rd, they've updated the version. So I suspect that we just need to make sure that we have the right, yeah. Let's copy this link address. Let's test it in here first. We'll test it in here first, and then we'll go drop it in the, let's go see. Is this different? Oops. Paste that new one. 5110.0. Yeah. We're looking for the old one. All right. We'll download. Yeah, so we'll download that. So yeah, it's now we can do our unzip. All right. So hold on. Let me go fix. Hold on. I'll fix the file real quick. So here's how we fix them in the lab. Here's our Linux labs. Here's the. Oh, I'm gonna probably have to fix the other one. Yeah, it just got updated on the 3rd. So I'm gonna have to update that every time that happens. So let's go down here. Step 1 text, and right here, we're gonna drop the right STIG file. Right here, or the SCC file, it's a STIG file. There it is. Boom. Now I'm gonna hit Control S, and then all I gotta do is say updated SCC file, right? And then I'll commit this up. The reason I use, you guys might wonder, why does he use VS Code? Oh, why not save one copy? Well, the VS Code, yeah, I could just save a copy and leave an old one. The reason I use VS Code is one of the programmers I kind of respect, Ryan Long, Salty Catfish, who doesn't really stream much anymore, but I try to get him to stream more. Is he was telling me that he likes using it, and he actually uses VS Code quite a bit. So I was like, all right, I'll get on my VI Vim space and do a little bit of that. So I've been kind of trying that out a little more than maybe normal. Okay, so that should be pushed up. So what we'll do is we'll go check this because I'm going to back all the way out. I don't... Now right here we'll see that as of Saturday the 14th of December that updated. Yep. So now we're going to go in and we're going to do it. You can still use VI and VS by adding plugin. Nice. I could do that, yeah. Let's do this. So now we're going to see, now does the thing flow properly without having to do all that other stuff. So this is, just a quick fix of the lab environment. for people that are tracking. The lab is, I linked it if anybody wants to do it with me. Boom. So download it, run this, hopefully with the right one. Good. I'm going to have to fix the other one now too, because that one's new as well, but let's at least get this. We'll unzip it, right? It'll go put it in the right directory. We'll install it, but now I think the install's wrong, so I got to fix the install too. Yep. So now the install is going to try to... I'm going to have to cd to the right directory as well. So... and then in here, now we need to do the right install. So let's go back over there real quick. We got to fix this. Move that over. So our CD, I give the full path for the CD just because I think that that's easier. Where the hell is that? Oh, I did need to CD into that directory, which also wouldn't have worked. Yep. And we'll put the right name in. All right, so good. So let's come over here and go to unzip. 5 dot. Got to use the right unzip. What the hell is that? 5.10. Okay, the unzip's going to be fine. And then we need to... I guess we really should give it the right name, huh? Because that would be best to give it the right name. .1. And then in here is the .1 directory. Yep. And then in here, the dpackage-i for the install will be with the .1 as well. Make sure. Yep. Okay. Dpackage-i with the right name right there. Boom. Okay. And then opt.scc, and then we won't have to change any of those other things because that's all right. Okay, good. All right. So let's Control-S it to save it. Come down here and say fixed versions. All right. And then we'll be good moving forward. Yeah, it's 5.10 to 5.10.1. Yep. What's going on here? I like that they have the new source graph down there. They never used to do all that. All right. So, so that's there. And then now that's going to be, everything else should be fine. Let's make sure. CD to opt.scc. We're going to do the config. So there's a config setup to this tool where you kind of have to tell it like the ways you want it to kind of work. So let's do that real quick. If anybody needs this lab, here it is. I'll send it to you guys again for the, there's the lab. All right, so press enter to continue. That first little part is just like an update, so I can read the updates and kind of, it's like a readme text. I'm gonna say I'm gonna configure scap. By the way, all these tools are down here, right? And it says, what don't you want? And I'm gonna say for this one, I don't want, hold on. I want to make sure I fix this. Yeah, so I can get rid of 1 and I can get rid of 3. If you guys see that, 0 will return us back, and then we'll go into 6, which is configure options, and then scanning options, and I have this all here on the left. And I always want to run, right here, all of the scap regardless. I always want to run all of them. So boom, and then I'm going to hit, I'm going to go check it. There's 1, run all scap regardless. 0 to get out of there. And then we're going to say 0 to leave again, and we're going to say 9 to exit and run a scan. Ranger's good. Did anybody want a Ranger check? Let's go check on Ranger. How's Ranger doing? Ranger, he's old though, man. Guys, Ranger's old. Give me 1 second. There's range. What is this one? Admin. Nope. I can get in that one. There's Ranger Cam. And look, Ranger's tree is down there, but the bottom lights are dead. They went out again last night, and we're not exactly sure why. So Ranger's got his own little Christmas tree downstairs. So there's Ranger Cam. He's getting up slow. He's kind of an older dog, you guys know. So he's, you know, I joke around about how. Oh, and then those are all of his Rangers. Hold on, real quick. I'll put a picture up real quick. In the pets or family. Hold on. Let me see here. I'll put up a picture of Ranger's little bed setup for you guys. Ranger's a good dog, guys. Ranger is he's a pretty good dog. Here, I'll show you guys. This is a picture. I took this picture of him yesterday. I took that picture of him yesterday. That's his little. So this is his little camera over here on the bottom right. Like in the right, not really bottom right, and that's where Ranger's laying, and then that's his. See, the lights were on, and then they died and went off. But that's what his little area looks like downstairs. Right now, we needed the rugs because he slides too much on the carpet right now. Like Ranger's like his back legs, man, he's just not super strong right now. So, yeah, he's 13, so it's like 80s in dog years. So he's getting up there. But that's also his right there. That's his little doggy. Don't worry, we don't give him chocolate. This is what it looked like when it was all on, and he was laying over there. And then did I put the? I don't know if I put our big tree in here. I didn't put our big tree up in here. This was me the other night working in my. That was working in my. Little hotel room when I was on my dissertation trip. So, all right. Enough memory lane. Back to hard work. I'm just kidding. All right, so we got the scan done. We'll go in and we'll look at where the scan was put, and it actually goes and it puts it back in root of our system. So we'll install Apache 2 because I want you guys to see this out to the screen. And then we'll go into root SCC sessions, and there's only one of them that's run, so we'll check it real quick. And then Apache, of course, takes a little bit of time to install, not too bad. We'll change over there. We'll copy everything into the index file, and then now we should be able to see the score. Oh, that is a bad score. Now, here's the scores that you need. I can zoom in a little bit if you guys want. Here's the scores that you need to like get on a government system typically. You want to be at least green. You got to be 90 or higher. So you might look at this and go, well, then what do I need to fix? Well, you need to go in to... So we can pull the things out individually, but that's not efficient. What we really want to do is use a tool like the OpenSCAP Workbench or it's the OSCAP tool, and we can build the Ansible playbooks and or Bash playbooks, Bash scripts that will fix these for us automatically. But you got to remember, you can't just launch that over and go, okay, I'm good, and then give it to production. That's not going to work. You have to then test it and say, okay, well, is this up to, is the system still doing what it needs, or do I need to move back and forth? Yeah, so LG, this is the U.S. government secure technical implementation guidelines. Yes. Yep. That's what these are. And then the SCAP is the security compliance checker tool. So SCC is the SCAP compliance checker. That's what it is, yeah. And then, so now we can come down here and we can go look at these, and we can look at them by severity. So all the Cat 1s have to be remediated. You'll never be on a government system in the US that's not all Cat 1s remediated. So these are the ones that were automatically checked, and these are the ones I'm going to have to go manually verify, right? And then there's medium severity ones, which you really want to work these ones out, because then if you work these ones out, you'll move up a little higher towards that 90%. Now here's the thing. I've talked to you guys about this before, and this is something to think about. This is always true with security. Well, if we know about all these and we can automate these, and even truly in the installer of like Red Hat and Rocky and all the Anaconda installers have, I'm pretty sure the Ubuntu type installers, whatever Debian uses, have it as well. But we know all the security standards. Why don't we just apply all of them? Why don't we deploy every system at 100%? Why don't we deploy every single system that comes out of everywhere with a session lock every time you walk away for 5 minutes, and you have to re-authenticate your privileges every time you change roles? And why don't we do that to users? I mean, think about it. Why don't we set all this stuff and force users to have all these partitions? Yeah, some security fixes may break the system, sure, but more often it's going to break the functionality, and the user's just going to go, fuck this, I'm going back to Windows. Because guess what? Windows and all these other tools, Mac is the same way, they move you far away. You're like a little sheep in your own little area, and they're like, oh, you did real good, you put your own little application on. You're not an admin on your system. Even when you're like admin on a Windows system, you're still pretty far away from like what the operating system is doing. You're still kind of down in your own little area going pew 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 with like little fake laser guns. You're not really part of the system administration in the Linux or in the Windows side of the world. Same thing with Mac. They're not giving you full access to that box because you'll break shit, right? Users will break shit. So anyways, my point is, yeah, they don't do all this stuff because it would become unusable for the users. So you have to, this is where I say security is always a trade-off. Yeah. SE Linux and AppArmor will break all kinds of stuff for the average user, yes. So, you know, anyways, I showed that. I'm glad that that lab's working. I'm going to redo this lab just in the first step for a second, just to make sure that this comes back up. So we got to make sure real quick. Oh, and Easy Money, I missed you over there. Thanks for hanging out. It will be Dr. Scott one day, Chris. Yep, sorry I missed that. I was when I get heads down, guys, I miss messages. So even though I do look like I'm reading stuff, I'm going nuts in my head trying to figure stuff out and think about different stuff. All right, lots of stuff on my mind. I'm still working today too. I got to get back on a little later and do some more work. Let's make sure this download works. It does. Let's make sure the unzip works. It does, because we changed the name and the unzip. Let's make sure the change directory works and the install works. That's all we need. Once we have that, I can close this down. But I do need to go fix, I'm going to need to fix the other one real quick too. Let's fix that. Let's fix that. Okay. Once that's all done, everything's good. Oh, LG, you didn't miss much. I'm rerunning through the check. I wanted to make sure that that works. Now we got to go back and fix the other one real quick. So let's make sure. I want to make sure that my other Stig one works. So there's possibility that this is going to an old one as well. So let's go make sure this one's good. We've got to find, this will be Firefox. Oh no, I take it back. This one will be the same one. Yeah, so this will be busted the same way. Yeah. So let's just fix this one the same way. Hold on. SCC 5.1.0, and we'll save it to 1.0 or 10.1, 10.1, 10.1, and then CD to the right directory. Install package, dpackage install .1. Okay. Control S. Updated version. These will actually commit back to my, these go to my GitHub, and then there's a pull from this. Let's go make sure it pulls right now. So we'll see this update. This was 10:54, so we'll see it update to about 11:05 or so when the pull request comes through. Yeah, see 11:05, and then it takes a minute or two to rebuild. So we'll talk a little bit, and then we'll go in, and then we just want to make sure that the Firefox one works, because the Firefox is doing the same thing. It's just doing it with a different set of stigs. It's doing it with, well, the Firefox stigs, right? So let's say you wanted to put Firefox on a system and then connect it to a government system, or connect it to any system that had a certain security standard. You can't do it, right? You can't. Got to make sure that you're adhering to whatever. So let me link you guys my Discord. This is the Professional Linux Users Group. you guys are welcome to hang out down there and talk shop with a bunch of other people. So I'll link that to you guys if anybody wants to go hang out down there. Sometimes people on YouTube for some reason have a hard time. If you click on that and it doesn't work, just go into like an incognito browser or in I don't know, whatever browser type you use, and it'll typically work for that Discord. I don't know why there's like a timing thing. Our link's set to never expire, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But you know, that's a more persistent area to go hang out. Like this is kind of hard back and forth for people and me, obviously. All right, let's go in there because now this is built. I'm not going to do this lab right now. I'm just going to run through the first part and make sure it works. So, but this lab's essentially the same as the last one. You just add Firefox. Install. Download. Got it. Do the version. Good. CD. Got it. Install. Good. We'll install Firefox just for fun. Oh, well, it's taking its time. We'll install Firefox just for fun. And then we'll make sure that we can still run the tool. As long as we can still run the tool, the rest of it's fine. All right. Let's go check on Ranger. Who knows where that dog is? Let Firefox install. All right, and then CD and check our tool. Is our tool running? Boom. Okay, good. All right, that's all I care about for that then. Let's go back out of here real quick. I will need this here in a little bit, but let's get back out of here and let's get back out of here and we'll leave that up. Okay, good. Stig, scap, open scap, workbench. What's another benchmark we use? I know I have it right here. Hold on. Okay. Standards, tools. So standards are those, tools are those, and then practices. Okay. See if I can make that a little bigger. Okay, so those are some hardening best practices. And then when we harden, build as keep them from changing without with So when do we what? So there's two times. Really, there's two. One's discrete, it's on build, and the other is ongoing, continuous, and that is with change management. So a lot of times, like engineers, me and others that are doing engineering, we think of change management like our enemies. Like they slow us down, they make us write all these reports about what we're doing. We can't just run around like the wild, wild west just firing off in the air with our pistols, right? They keep us kind of grounded. But the main thing about change management is they keep those systems on whatever, as we do a deployment, it's like a build as part of deployment security benchmark, baseline. That's not benchmark, baseline. So build is part of the build pipeline. Partitions, these are hard to change later. It's very hard to change a partition later on a system, on a set of systems, to be like, well, we're just gonna slide this partition in there. That's more of a hassle than you probably think. I mean, it's not hard to add a new one and like to add a new disk and then move that in, and it's a hassle. It really needs to be part of your build process. And if you have a good build pipeline, you can just deploy machines again and throw away the old machines, right? We don't sit around and try to spend a lot of time making production systems stable. We try to just build new ones and get them through the system pipeline and come up. So Empower Zone said, "Sir, how to run code in Linux?" I mean, there's a lot of ways to do that, I guess. Make sure you have a compiler for it, and then build it and run it, I guess. If that's what you're asking. All right, change management while running, keep them change. Okay, let's call that good for now. That'll be good enough. And then, why do we care as an administrator, right? Well, because we're the ones that see the system in operations. That's true. One of the primary, our primary goal as administrators is uptime. 100%. It's uptime. That's what we care about. Security is focused on confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Us as administrators, this is for the administrators course, so that's why I write it as an administrator. For us as administrators, this makes, I wish I could spell, this makes security critical. I'll think of more to put on here, but that's a good start. Lab tasks for this week will be SCC report, harden one item, let's say 3 items from the system, rescan the SCC report to validate change, right? Yeah, so LG, that's a realistic uptime if you have the money for it, right? You do represent uptime in nines. That's what's called 5 nines right there. When you say 99.999%, that's like 34 minutes of downtime in a year. Not most organizations are going to ever get to that without spending hundreds of millions of dollars. Most government systems that I've ever worked on, they shoot for a 98.5% uptime. And then they have a second system at 98.5%. So they're running at a 98.5, which is only a few hours. I think it's like about a day and a half a year. We could look them all up. And then the other one's at a day and a half. And the chances of those day and a half over the course of 365 days ever overlapping is very, very low. You also got to remember uptime is always expressed as unplanned downtime. So like if you take unplanned downtime, that's when your uptime takes a hit. If you plan the downtime, it doesn't actually take a hit, but you're not going to get a lot of planned downtime in a system. No, LG, so it depends on the organization. Like I said, most government systems are 98.5. So that's not even 3 nines. It's not even 2 nines. It's 98.5. Here, I'll show you guys. This is where you go look for that. You just go to uptime. There's a really good chart here on Wikipedia if you've never seen it. You just go to uptime, and they will express uptime to you. It might be, well, it's in high availability then if it's not in uptime. Right down here. Yeah. So this shows you if you were to go for 5 nines, you would have 5.26 minutes a year. That's what it is. Per year, you get 5.26 minutes of downtime. Electric eccentricities. I think you probably understand that ITT Tech's been gone since 2015. So I don't teach at any ITT. Oh, which ITT Tech did I teach at? It was in Phoenix. It was in Phoenix. I thought you said which one do I teach at. I was like, but no, I taught in Phoenix. I taught in there's 3 that were in Phoenix, 2 in Phoenix proper and 1 down in Tempe, and I taught at both of the Phoenix ones. So yeah, LG. If you read it in the SRE book, there's a really good SRE set of books right here from Google. Oh yeah, ITT Tech's been gone since. Yeah, here's the SRE books. These are free from Google. So if you guys want to get better on the SRE side of things, there you go. Oh yeah, no, ITT Tech definitely imploded. They were taking like 95.5% of their money from being like federal stuff. And when I was there, I know I failed students and they were still moved to the next. I didn't fail them. They failed themselves and they were still moved to the next class. So I had long suspected somebody was changing grades of students, but you know, I mean, I can't, you know, they are what they are. I tried to make the time that I spent with my students valuable, and I think that I taught my students. I still keep in touch with some of my students. Some of my students have gone off to be CIOs of companies and stuff. But yeah, you know what? I'll tell you guys. I learned this when I went to school myself. You're going to get out of school what you put into it, right? Like I went. So I told some of you guys when I was in the Army, I got my CCNA. So I started going to like community college at night when I was in the Army. The infantry guy running around learning CCNA stuff. And when I got out, DeVry didn't take a lot of my credit, so I kind of had to like start over. And one of the classes they made me take was like the intro CCNA stuff. And I remember thinking like this is garbage. Garbage in that I already knew it all, right? I could have taught that class. But what I decided was I was like, I'm going to learn something every day, whether the teacher teaches it to me or I learn it myself, right? And I think that made a lot more difference to me than people who just came to class and like sat back like this and were like, teach me. You know, like I tell people all the time, I can't teach you a damn thing if you don't want to. Nobody can teach you a damn thing. That's a fact. There's whole torture programs that have been implemented by countries to try to teach somebody how to be a normal citizen again, and that person's like, "You're not teaching me nothing." You might not think of it like that, but it's true. You can't teach anybody something if they don't want to. And it's always baffled me when students come in and they're like, "I have no interest in doing this stuff or being here," and I'm like, "Well, what do you think you're going to do when you leave here?" People don't just throw money at you because you guys have a degree. Just so you know. If anybody here goes and gets a degree. Same thing here. You learn all this stuff so you can go do it, not so that you don't ever have to do it. That's one of the things that happens. Yeah, ITT Tech was a great company. I remember growing up with them, and I remember I thought that we had a really good curriculum, but it's just, Yeah. Well, I mean, teaching is a certain type of brainwashing, isn't it? I mean, it really is. Like it's just that people agree to it, right? All right, look at Ranger. Ranger's wandering around down there. He's walking, being slow. All right, guys, I need to keep building this. So, I'm still building last week's stuff. I still got to do this week's stuff too. So that's getting data to practice with. So we don't need this one anymore. So we'll delete that slide. This is the one I really like, the unacceptable. So I left it. Let's call this all the stuff for this week, and we'll call that part good. And then we'll go over to the worksheet, and now we got to start building the 13 discussion questions. So I need to get rid of this, that. This will be 13 discussion question 2, and we'll get rid of that. And we'll get rid of, those were our different questions. Boom. These were the questions from last week, if you guys were around. Well, for 2 weeks ago now. So far behind. And then we're not going to have a 3 this week. Or, well, for last week. We won't have a discussion question 3. LG, yeah. There's a lot of ads, I think, LG. But I feel like people get I think people get pretty good stuff hanging out here, so I think that's why I have so many ads. But I don't know. So let's do some terminology for this week. Let's say, what's our terminology for this week? Yeah, okay. So, we will for sure have hardening pipeline, right? So IT change management, not just regular. Security standard, security posture. What's security posture? And maybe 800-53, which is the framework of, if you've never seen NIST 800-53, that's the cybersecurity risk framework that all government and many people who interact with government for the U.S. Have to adhere to. Hey, Gan, how's it going? Oh, a minute 30 of ads. Jeez. Guys, I'm very spoiled. Like, I have turbo, so like I watch a fair amount of Twitch during the day while I'm doing other things, and I don't watch any Twitch ads. Which, in fact, if I'm ever on a channel and they happen to play an ad or something, I leave the channel. I don't care what it is, because I don't like watching ads. It's super annoying. But that's just me. But that's because I pay for the Twitch whatever. So if ads do manage to get them, which they do. What's a STIG? What's a CIS benchmark? What's OpenSCAP? And then what's SCC tool? So these are just definitions and terminologies that I think that would be good for people to know. What's a HIDS and what's a HIPS? That's a host intrusion detection, host intrusion prevention. LG, what's the rationale behind those standards? Okay, yeah, so it's just, the idea is, you know, you get a server, right? You get something open source from the internet, right? You run in my, oh, my system reboot. I was like, wait a minute, why is my system not, hold on. Let's get in real quick here. Let's get in here. 73684. It's my normal streaming one. Let me show you real quick. I just go and I download some open source tool from the internet, right? Wait, no, I'm already in Werewolf. What am I thinking? I'm over here in Werewolf. Okay, so let's clear this out. Check a couple things real quick. I just want to check our servers real quick, see how they're going. Yeah, hopefully this stuff's useful to you guys. You know, that's the goal. Hold on. So, okay. So all my servers are up. I just want to SSH one real quick. So these are the nodes that all you guys can use for the group. So here's the Rocky 1 node. He's the first node in my system. And he is a Rocky 9.4 Blue Onyx Linux, right? He's this version of Internet Rocky 9.4 Linux that I pulled down. Scott Champagne pulled this down. Well, this is why there's STIG standards. Like I said, this box could be completely locked down, but it's not. It's made so that it will be as usable for the end user as possible. In fact, if I were to look at this box and go to just real quick, let's vi etc sshd underscore config. Let's go look in here real quick. Right, and just right here, let's look for /root. And do we permit root login Well, yes, we do, but passwords prohibited. So you can't come into this as root with a password. You could use a certificate or a key if you had one of those. But I could also put, but even that for most people, for most government projects, is a bit high. What some people would probably do is change this to no right here, right? You would set this to no. Root cannot log in, and then you would uncomment it right here, right? And I'm not going to leave this like this, but the point is I could do that. And then if I were to do that, this box would be slightly more hardened, that's the terminology we use, than it was before. So the question was, why do we have these standards, and presumably why aren't they just rolled and baked into every open source tool we could have? Well, because they're trying to balance security versus usability, and they will always go towards usability so that users will use their stuff. Like Rocky 9.4, Rocky Linux is not Windows. Windows is going to have 4 billion users on planet Earth right now. Whether they, they could they could tell you can't sit in front of their machine drinking a Pepsi instead of a Coke, and they would still have 4 billion users, right? And you say, well, what the hell do you mean by that? What I mean is, it doesn't matter what they do. They're going to have all those users. These guys are, I guess, what we would call beggars for users. They need to do what the users want, or nobody's going to use Rocky 9.4. Does that kind of make sense? My point in saying that is, you then have to lock your systems down to what your level of security is. It's like if I could build you a barn in your front yard, and you're like, oh, that's a really nice barn. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not going to put doors on it. And you're like, okay, well, that's fine. I'll put doors on it later. And I go, well, and I'm going to fill it with hay for you, but I'm also going to like hang a lantern. And you're like, well, I don't want the place to burn down, so I'll go ahead and turn that lantern off because I don't really, I'm age of electricity, right? Well, where I'm going with that is you lock your own systems down to the security standard that you're willing. It's what your company has an appetite for risk. So security posture goes with this concept of appetite for risk. I don't really need to. I'm not gonna mention that. That's a thing for people to go read later. But yeah. So the question was, why do we have these standards? And the reason is because there are ways to lock a system down to a certain security level, but that's not what's going to come from the vendor, because the vendor wants it to be usable, right? Like, for example, I don't know if any of you guys have ever driven a Chevy here in the U.S. If you've ever driven a Chevy here in the U.S., they used to have a little regulator on them that you couldn't go over like 86 miles an hour. In fact, I drove one. I had a 2001 Chevy S10 that could not go over 86 miles an hour. Had a regulator on it. Couldn't do it. Even if you were going downhill, you'd have to put it in neutral to roll faster downhill than 86 miles an hour. Isn't that weird? But could the vehicle go fast? Yeah, the vehicle could go 130 probably. It was a little straight 4, so it wasn't super fast. But you'd probably get it going up 130 if you were, straight enough, long enough. But the point is, like, they had a regulator on it, and it's the same kind of idea. Nobody liked that. People want their operating system to be wide open when they're using it, but then security-minded people, you as IT people and engineers, are going to want to lock that down. Anyway, so that's kind of my thoughts on that. Okay, that's the facts of that, I guess. So I'm going to escape that. I'm not going to write it. I just wanted you guys to see that in the environment, and then let's keep cleaning this up here. So if you're wondering what I'm doing, because some people probably came in later and were like, what the heck is this guy doing? We have a running course that's been going. It's 16 weeks long. I am fantastically behind because of my doctorate work. So I am working on 13 and 14. I don't know why I just did 1 and 2. But these two are 13 and 14. I'm getting 13 done right now. 14 will be done by the time we do a meeting in about 3.5 hours. We've got a meeting. So I'll get the Ansible automation one. We do a meeting in the Discord every week. We have a recording of all the last ones. Let's see this one here. Hold on. This meeting is the 16-week Linux Systems Administration course. It's free. I'm not charging anybody anything. It's a significant amount of work. And the work looks like this, which I'm about to get into here in a second on this one. There's a worksheet each week. So you've got a worksheet. There's labs for each week. And then there's these discussion questions. And the discussion questions, you come into the Discord and you actually talk with people and answer them. So you answer my questions. So I have questions here about how you would deal with questions about capacity in your system, because last week was benchmarking and baselining. And then you would answer questions and talk with people in the thread over here and be like, oh, that's an interesting point, or I didn't think about that, or whatever, right? And we have those going all the way back for the last 13 weeks now, okay? Have you done a golden image? Yeah, so the golden image I'm not really going to do as part of this one. I mean, I build golden images all the time. Electric eccentricities. Which certs does this course prep for? This one doesn't really focus on any certs. This one just focuses on hard knocks, I guess. Yeah, LG, I wouldn't ever worry about memorizing them. I would worry about kind of knowing how to like get ready for them. But yeah, electric. This is more of so. Real quick, just to back up, I have a lot of stuff out there for free on Killer Coda. Like Killer Coda is this free site that just drops you in a shell and you just do Linux, right? So right here, you could just go in and be dropped into a shell. It's free, right? I don't run it. A guy named Kim Woosterkamp runs it. Booster Camp. It's Wooster. It looks like Rooster kind of, but it's WOOSTER. But anyways, he runs this site, free Linux, right? Free Linux shell, and you can just run through the labs and learn how to use, in this case, like the screen tool. I show you how to use screen, right? But anyways, that's more of like the hands-on stuff. Whereas this Ranger's not in his bed, my dog Ranger. This course is more about like that stuff is like the hands-on stuff. This one is hands-on, but this one is much more about thinking through the process of being a systems administrator, which is where most of you are going to start if you decide to go in. I want to make you engineers, right? My goal in the way we talk is to learn engineering, systems engineering, but we have to work up to that for a lot of us. So some people have to bake in for a while as administrators and learn, hey, this is what's coming from operations, this is what's coming from my project teams and my engineers and my architects, and you got to sit there for a while, and then after a while you're ready to kind of move up into the engineering space. So anyway, so that's what we're doing right now, in case anybody's wondering. Our Discord is right here if anybody needs it. Discord's always going to be free, and lest I get told promo so much, I will go there. No, I was never involved with the Saint scanner tool, but I do remember the Saint the tool. But that is an anagram for my name, by the way. So, what is the? Oh, shoot, guys! Chilling spree. Your message went over what I was trying to do, so I just typed your message into YouTube. That's really funny. Guys, there's like this weird message in YouTube where they're like, what the hell's he talking about? His Twitch recap. You can call yourself an engineer when somebody else calls you an engineer professionally. That's my litmus test. Because I got an engineering master's degree in 2011, but I was already called an engineer by Lockheed Martin. So when a company calls you an engineer and pays you for it, that's when I feel like you could call yourself. I mean, look, you call yourself whatever you want, really, right? It's the same thing with, I tell people all the time, it's like, I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You can go buy yourself a black belt off of Amazon. But if you step in a gym with that black belt, you better be ready to fucking defend that, because people are going to try to murder you. People that aren't even mad at you are going to be trying to murder you, right? That's the way that sport works. It's the same thing here. Like if you call yourself an engineer, expect the questions to get harder and the things that people ask you to do to be harder, I guess. So, anyways, all right. Not to get too far afield, I just wanted you guys to see that. All right, so I gotta think of some questions. So my questions have kind of been following. Some of you guys have probably been paying attention. My questions have been following kind of this pattern, where, like, the first question will be something around, like, running it in production or running it live. Something comes from an application team, and then another one will be like kind of taking it further. Look, I don't care. Like, if they call me a systems administrator, but they pay me for it, I don't care. Like, I don't care the title people give me. But that is valuable to some people, because it is valuable in your future what you're titled. Some of you guys probably have been there in the industry where all industry is somewhat fickle, dealing with titles and all that stuff, right? It would be nice if we didn't have to deal with it, but we do. So it's that, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, there's eccentric. I will tell you that, yeah, I'll tell you that most people don't ever sit down and do the engineering side of things, which we sometimes do here. Like I sometimes will pull up and show you guys the process engineering stuff. We talk about Six Sigma around here sometimes. I will sometimes show you guys the data analytics type engineering stuff, and looking at different stuff. So have I talked about backup? I talk about backups sometimes, not in the sysadmin course. We didn't really go deep into backups. We kind of did. Let me think. Did we really go into backups ever? Not really. We didn't really go too far into backups. That might be something to add in a new version of it. No, we never really hit backups too much. All right. So what are my questions then? We are dealing with, in large part here, this. So let's say, oh, I need to add, hold on, I need to add some other thoughts to this. This part deployment. I want to add this section. Governance. Risk. Let's say systems administrators do. Okay. What are security teams doing? They're just being jerks. What are the scanning tools? I guess the main ones you're going to see are going to be like Nessus and Qualys. Those are going to be probably the ones that you're going to run into the most. And then that's what these teams do. That's what these teams do. You might say, why don't you just fix this? It's this. There's a weirdness in this. I don't know why it's like it is. So I'm not going to sit around and mess with it too much. But anyways, all right. Am I missing anything? Another 20 seconds and 20 minutes. Luckily, our streamer's not taking his time. Yeah, sorry, LG. I think I have it set at the default, whatever that is. So. Hold on real quick. The security teams comes with you with a discrepancy between the production baseline and production something is running. They want you to account for why how are you going to verify? A set of there are web cluster and you want to account for why they want you to account for why something is different. How are you going to validate the change, the difference? What are you going to? And all right. LibreWolf. I don't know what LibreWolf is. I don't even know. I looked up and Firefox fork. Okay. All right. So that'll be a good first question for last week. We're a whole week behind. And then let's go with like a looking forward. How are you going to start planning out your migration? What are you going to check on the existing systems to baseline your build? And what kind of validation plan might you use for your new Rocky Find Out 4 systems? All right. So the other day you guys asked for me to make this harder, by the way. So some people were saying that this wasn't hard enough. Actually, the people that voted weren't the people doing the course, which I thought was really funny. All right, so let's go through these real quick. Let me go drop these up in the actual Discord now. So I'm gonna say this will be this is last week's stuff still. Geez. Unit 13. Unit 13 discussion post 1. And then we turn it into a thread, right? So then we say, where's the thread one? Oh, maybe it's here. What am I missing here, guys? Create thread, there it is. Discuss. Right, so that's question 1 that people can answer or start to answer. And then discussion question 2 is your team has been giving you more and more. All right, and then so let me put these in here, and then we'll discussion post 1 and then 2, and then create thread and discuss. Do you implement Kerberos in your systems? I've run a lot of Kerberos in my time, but I don't. I mean, nowadays I run. No, mostly nowadays in my home lab stuff, I just run. I do local auth. I do need to put Keycloak up one of these days and get that running. Keycloak's a really good open IDM type solution, but no, I haven't really. Nope, not Kerberos lately. I do have to connect to Kerberos because Active Directory uses Kerberos, obviously, and almost always, as you're a Linux administrator, you're gonna give trust to some type of other system. So, all right, this will be Unit 13, and I need to build this documentation. Oh gosh, so much crap. I didn't have anything there, so let's go here, and then 13, and then what are we going to call this? This week will be system hardening. Okay. System hardening.docx. All right. Fair enough. Some people have talked about Tailscale. I've never used it though. All right. Let's get this over here. This will be called system hardening. Continue working. Digging deeper. Digging deeper is always a thing that kind of digs more into whatever we're talking about. Oops. So let me go grab. It's gonna be bright for a second, guys. Can't help it. I need to go grab something real quick. Here. Yeah, we do a fair amount with Ansible around here too. I just don't. I haven't integrated it all the way. I kind of want to add, when we go back and redo the course, I will probably add an Ansible component to every single week because just Ansible's so valuable, automation in general is so valuable, and a security component to each week because I think that'll be valuable too. I need to grab this. So updating golden image and okay. Can I grab this link? Oh wow. Discussion. Question. Okay, so that's run through that lab. Then the other lab, which will be here, golden image, run through that lab. And then, so run through this lab. Oh, that's not good. All right. How do those two labs help you guys to better harden your systems? All right. So that'll be 13. That'll be the worksheet. Oh, we did use Spider last week. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Spider idle, but we were doing some. We did have some Python going last week, so that was kind of fun. Just order your Red Bull. Yeah, Action. Yeah, we're going to be on here for a little bit. They're putting the tree together right outside here, and then down the hallway. They're putting the tree together for. We're having a third Christmas tree in my house this year, so if you hear anybody else talking, that's them. It's not a big deal. I think so that's good. So once I save this, I also always go and save it as a PDF as well. So some of you guys asked for a PDF. I think PDFs are more universal for everybody, so we'll do that. And then we're going to replace it. Yep. And then boom. So now we'll have a PDF of that. I can get that out of the way. And now I got to build this up. So this one is going to be system hardening. System hardening, Rocky Linux server, good, boom. And we're going to go, and some of you guys have watched me build. This one's also pretty much done. Why do we care? I have a little more to write there. Lab. Okay, so here's the main lab things that I want to do. So down here in the lab, I'm going to say right here, SCC report, and then move this, boom, and then we'll say harden the system, right? And then get rid of that, and then get rid of most of that. Should be a number still. Screw it. Whatever. And then this last one will be rescan to validate changes. This stuff here, if this looks interesting and you're like, oh, he's throwing away all that interesting stuff, that's from last week, right? So if you want to go do last week's stuff, feel free to do it. That was all that data. Boom. All right, good enough. Good enough for government work, right? I mean, you get what you pay for with me, which is basically free. There will be 3 steps. And get a Stig score. You will remediate some of the items from the scan. You will rescan and verify a better score. Oh. All right. Sure I'm not missing anything here too much. So, we always have our lab warm-ups. Let's go check our lab environment. All right, so we've squeezed everything we need to out of this then. Did I bring my questions back over? I did not bring my questions back over, so I got to go reopen that one thing again. I always forget one thing when I do this. So let's go pull up the worksheet. We'll open it up. Super annoying. I have this in dark mode, but it's fine. I just want to look at the questions and then security team. And then a new hardened image. So those are the 2 general questions for the week. Boom. I always do those kind of generalized. All right. So get that out of the way. Get that out of the way, and then now we're ready to go do some actual Linux, right? All that to actually get to the Linux. I haven't even done hardly any today for you guys, so that's funny. Right as the ad break starts, we'll wait till the ad break's over. So, I got something starting at. Got a work call in 3 minutes if I want to go take that. That's fine. That's fine. Hopefully you guys are okay with me ignoring you a little bit. I'm just down here working. I'm trying to pay attention to viewers. So if you guys have anything, let me know. So let's check a couple things. CD opt. I'm pretty sure the SCC tool is here. Yep. And then I'm pretty sure SCC, I can scan it on the system. Let's see. Let's see if a scan. Actually, let's hold on. Let's do time. CSCC. Boom. Right as the trumpet starts. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Okay. So I've got, cannot delete options that you have ownership. That's fine. I don't care about that. Unable to set permissions on the sock installation. I'm not too worried about that. It should still scan. Pretty sure. It's fine. We're not worried about that either. It should still scan and then put it on the local machine, which is what we do want. Okay, that's not what we wanted then. It says that we have, well, we think we have read write to that, but maybe we don't. No root squash, but it is read only. Okay, so I did set that as read only, but I think I guess I could rebuild it if somebody breaks it. Yeah, we'll set it read write just so that this goes easier. All right. So then we wwctl. So these are werewolf commands now. And we're going to do werewolf is configure. We'll do NFS. It's going to rebuild its NFS. And then we have to, for that to work, right? We actually need to, let's just do a remount. It's mount -o remount on opt on all the servers. Now it's going to tell us, hey, you shouldn't use shell to remount. I don't care. I don't care about its messages. Ansible can complain all at once, but it's going to go and it's going to remount all of those on those nodes. So now they're going to have the right permissions. So watch, I come back over here, and I probably needed to get out of there, but did on all the other ones. Okay. Let's check again. Still thinks it's read write, but now we should at least be able to cd back into that directory and then rerun the time command. We could just bang time and that would do it as well. But let's let it run now. Now I should have permissions to read write in that directory. And yep. So now it's not going to give me those errors about not. It's almost like it's creating a little locking file. So good. Okay, yeah, that's fine. We're not getting all those errors now. It's trying to do a rel 9 stig scan. You guys should be able to see that here, right there. Yeah, it's not getting any of the errors, so that's good. So over here, we will probably, in our exercises, Wonder if this one. Well, yeah, we'll use some. While we'll let that scan over there. We'll go to Rocky 2 real quick. SS-NTULP. One of my favorite commands. Let's see. What ports are open? What does the what is open on port 9080? All right. What does this service do? Does anybody here know what Promtail does? Promtail is a tool that we've used quite a bit in these labs and in these things that we're doing. What does Promtail do? Does anybody remember? What does Promtail do in our environment if you've been around long enough? If not, you get to figure it out this week in the labs. What about... Is it just systemctl -- failed? I think somebody showed me that. But I also use... What units? So instead of syslog centralization, Promtail dumps stuff into a database. So, yeah, so Promtail will throw data off into an open API if you have one. And the one that I use is Loki, L-O-K-I. So in our environment, if we pull up Ranger Check here. Oh, look at Ranger. Ranger's out there wandering around being a Ranger dog. So if we go to my other environment, though, and we say lab logs. Excuse me. And we come in here to, we go to secure, and then maybe we change this to Rocky. We should see all the Rocky stuff going on in my environment. So see, here we've got the most recent one was Rocky 2. So if I were to pull this over, and then on Rocky 2 I were to say like log, what's that command? It's just logger, and then say this is a super important message, and I just send that in. Over here we should see, I hope. You can also set different levels to the messages. I have to go look at where Promtail is actually logging here, but let's see if oh, I'm only looking in secure. Sorry, if I look in messages and then rerun it here, there's my super important message. Look, this is my super important message for FOSS on stream, right? And I run that, and then I don't touch anything. You should see that pop up right here. Look, my hands are up here. I'm not touching anything. You should see that within about 10 seconds or so. That should pop up as the message right there. Boom, this is super important message for FOSS on stream. Actually, if you guys want to hear something fun, I was talking to Fisherman about this. I was going to put this together on stream today, but I can't do fun stuff until I do work stuff, right? So here's my problem. I need to get this stuff done because I need to keep people going through the course. I think some people are getting a lot out of it, and I think that's valuable to them. So I'm not going to fail them. But what I really want to do is set up where, so most of you guys already know you can get into our environment, right? But I'm going to set it up so you guys can get in through like the Apache Guacamole. And then when you're in a Linux box that you have full access to break and do whatever you want to, I'm going to have a little, you're going to have a little API. You're going to have like a little, we'll probably call it like help. I don't know, help or guide or something like that. And it's going to answer you, questions through a little LLM. So we'll have a little LLM running that will answer you questions about Linux and hopefully get you some good stuff. And then we're going to sit here and watch the interactions here of all the communications that people are doing in the different systems. I think that's going to be fun. I don't know how much other people would think that's fun, but I think that would be fun to watch people interact. It would be completely anonymized. We wouldn't know who you were. The only reason I would know if anybody was doing anything is if they started doing a bunch of bullshit in there. But as long as they're doing whatever, they could just sit there and while you're hanging out here, you'd be able to work on stuff on there. Yeah, it'd be just like a little AI helper bot, but you'd be in a lab environment. And I'll do it when I'm online too, so you guys can answer me questions, but or you can ask me questions. But I was thinking that I would do that, especially like if I'm co-working. Then you guys would have something to watch and people could ask questions and all that stuff, but there would also be, I think, a little bit more interactive. I think that would be kind of fun for people. So I think I'll work that up. It's not going to take me long to build that. I have all the component pieces. I just have to put it together, right? But I'm doing this stuff instead. So this is important too, because this is the thing that I think people are really hopefully getting some good value out of as a systems administrator, right? So we have a way to connect in the lab now. I'm going to update this environment though, but if you guys go to Discord, there's a few ways to connect. One, you go into the projects and you go find the what's it called? The syllabus. You got to go back a little ways. There's a syllabus, and that shows you how to connect. And then also in our sandbox, if you go to our sandbox, every morning there's an automated message. I don't know how many of you guys look at this. There's an automated message from me of how to connect to our environment, and then you need to have a username from me. But I'm going to make this just a general. I'll just make a general one for people to use, and then you'll be able to jump into the different nodes and then do a little bit of stuff. Sweaty, I can get away with CPU for a good amount of it. I can get away with CPU, I think, a little bit. I won't have a GPU, but I could get a hold of a GPU box if I wanted. But you can get away with a lot of stuff on just CPU, as long as people aren't asking it too wild stuff. You know, if they're just asking it Linux stuff, it shouldn't be all too bad. Shouldn't be all too bad. Yeah. So, it'll be simple. Do Olama with a CPU just a minute to answer. Yeah, Foss, I think I can get Olama down. I typically can get Olama to answer in under 5 seconds, I think. So if somebody's like, hey, what is a disk in Linux? I think it could answer that pretty quick. And then we'd be able to, we would not see, so everybody knows, we would not see who's asking the questions. It would all be the same user, and I'm fine with that. If I need to go dig in on the logs and kick people out forever, that's not a big deal. But we'd be able to see what was going on in the system here, which I think would be fun. So Z80s are remarkably cheap now. Yeah, I can get a hold of stuff if I need to. Ranger's not on his bed again. There's people here, so Ranger's not hanging out. He's moving around. He's looking for snacks. Super important message. Okay, so we did some logging. Hold on, let's go back here to our scan. Scan's still going. 3 basic tasks today. So sock report, log in. So you have 2 options. This lab can be done in the ProLUG Rocky servers or in Killer Coda at this location. So we got to go find the Killer Coda location. Here Ranger down there coughing. He's getting old. Let's go find this lab. Yeah, I'm going to use a model that I was looking at some of the Olama models that are out there, and I got to do something bigger than Tiny Llama, but I'll probably do something more along the lines of. I was looking at some of them. There's a few that are designed. So I was looking at. There's a few that are designed for generating code, and I was like, well, Bash is kind of code. In that, I mean, it's a language, right? I mean, Bash is a language. I mean, we're using it as a shell, but it still is doing, executing commands and stuff. So you could treat it like language. But I was gonna see if those still had enough other information around Linux to be useful for people as well. So we'll play with that a little bit. So those are taking their time over there. But we'll see how long that takes. Harden the system. Oh, what ways? In which ways do we want to have them harden the box? That's gonna be a good question. We'll pick probably a 1. Maybe like pick a 1, cat 1, and maybe like a cat 2, and then maybe like a cat 3, just to see each of them. I think that would be kind of good. Also, I think I'm missing follows, but thanks for the follows, guys. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. I think I get sucked into this stuff, and I want to get this stuff done, so I don't want to miss. I don't want to miss the deadline here. I only got about 2.5 more hours, so yeah. Also, shoot, it's almost 2 hours. I haven't taken a break yet. I typically take a break sometime during the day, so we'll let this run, and then I'll keep working on this. There's another thing I want to show on here too while we're here. Let's go with, so we'll clear the screen, RPM-QA, grep-I for, let's just do RPM QA and then WC-L. No, WC-L. Approximately how many software packages do you have, right? So 472 software packages on here. And then let's go and let's look for RPM QA grep-I for SSH. So now we say RPM QA grep-I for SSH. How many SSH packages do you have? What is the version of Open SSH? Do you know if there are any known vulnerabilities for that version? Excuse me. How would you know if there was a vulnerability for this version here? Could you go search the NIST database? Hey, Nilium, how's it going? Let's go here. We should be able to just search this. I haven't searched one of these in a while. But let's go look for OpenSSH. and it'll tell us, oh, there's all kinds of vulnerabilities. But maybe I want to refine my search a little bit, right? And then we could come in here and we could look for maybe only for the last 3 months, or we can add a version, right? So we could look, is OpenSSH 8.7 being shown as something? We'll say we don't want an exact match because we want it to kind of wildcard it out a little bit. But no, right off, I don't see anything for that. But I could also look for just version 8, right? Let's say 8, like that. Are there any known for 8? And I say, well, hold on, maybe I can just go to OpenSSH. Let's go for advanced. I'm okay with all that, all the versions. I'm okay with all that. Yeah. Let's go back to OpenSSH. We'll get a lot of them again, but none of them are for our system. But we could also look through them if we wanted to as well, right? Now, by the way, you can do API calls against this and search for very specific things that you're looking for and versions of things. So I'm gonna go back here, right? I'm just gonna go back to this and say that you can go ahead and search if you wanted to. Right. This is still in the exercises section, so I try not to like dig in too much. But you could go in and you could look at that if that was your prerogative there. All right. So there'll be 3 basic tasks for this and this and this, and that's still running. So the problem is I need to see if there's a way on the SCC to skip the network scans, because the network scans are scanning all of my werewolf box. So look, this server, these servers, if you do a df-h on them, they have these big giant directories that are actually mounted off of the other system. Nilium, I'm not 100% sure. That seems like that would be like a MacBook Air just heating up from running a VirtualBox. I would hope that wouldn't happen. And then Ann Drowner, hopefully this stuff's useful to you. Thank you for the follow. We are again not working too hard. Blipblop on YouTube said, do I think it's not too late to give a shot for the ProLUG course? I think you can start whenever you want. It's gonna be available after it ends, but January 19th is the last day of getting through all of the course if you want the little certificate at the end. So hopefully that answers the question over there on YouTube. But yeah, you guys could start it. It's going to be a lot of work. A lot of work for me to put this stuff together, right? But anyway, so scan this. Okay, where am I at here? That scan has taken a long time. I need to find a way. Yeah, I mean this is a massive amount of scanning for a system that only has 2 CPUs and 4 gigs of RAM. That's what each of my little nodes have. So yeah, he's only on processing rule 112 of 466 for RHEL 9. So I mean that's gonna take an hour. That's not great. Yeah, the XZUtils attack was a fun one. It's funny how somebody found that because they were like, my SSH connections are half a second slower. I thought that was kind of funny. That takes a real special type to notice that. So, Trivi's good for scanning. Yeah, Trivi's a good tool for scanning containers. Yeah, Trivi. I don't know. My closed captioning is just. Sometimes I look down there and closed captioning is just doing whatever it wants. Man, I wonder if It's going to take a long time to scan all that. Hopefully, we can at least do that in parallel. Yeah, we're using a very specific tool here to do the rel stig scanning, the SCC tool for those 466 vulnerabilities. But I don't know why. Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say, don't. You guys have got me going on Apple before. They have managed to convince people that I'm not even gonna go into that. What I can tell you for certain is we are all using the exact same open standards for texting and open standards for everything, and you know, when they can't get a picture from one of your buddies that's using a different type of phone than you, that's on them, not on your friend. That's on Apple, because we're all using the same effing protocols. It's all the same stuff. They had to have purposely broken that stuff. That's the only way that could have happened. Unless they're incompetent, which I can't imagine that's the case. They're making working phones, but they're making them work in such a way that they don't interact over like MP4 the same way as it doesn't make any sense. It's an open protocol. But you send a video to your friend and it comes across grainy. That's on purpose. There's no way that's on accident. So, I mean, unless incompetence or on purpose. Those are the only two options when engineering something like that. So, all right, man, this is gonna take a while. So, I can't do that scan part yet. I gotta write this part up, but I need to think of what I'm gonna have you guys do to harden the system. I kind of want to see the scan first. I guess I know 4 things that we can just update real quick to set the scan, but yeah, we could do that real quick. So harden. One will be harden SSHD. That's the SSH daemon. We will harden set up a MOTD banner. That is actually one of the STIGs. We won't set it up for the government systems, which is the one that you would need to pass the STIG, but we can set up a banner message of the day. That'll be it. We can set up logging and our syslog. And then another one would be, let's think of another one. I don't know, let's just say remove. What's something that's running that we don't need? Remove unneeded software. Right. Harden the bootloader, harden the init. Yeah, we could do that. We could harden all that. Problem is, I control all that in the lab, and I need to give people access to that. It's actually one of the hardest things about teaching any of this stuff is there has to be a certain amount of like control. Well, some of the stuff is, I guess, what you would call hardening the OS, but it's applications inside of the OS, right? And we're going to get our STIG score here in 4 days. I forget how long this took to run before, but I mean, we're already at, hold on, let's go check. We're at 1926, but we started it at, oh yeah, we started over, Started about 25 minutes ago. So, I mean, who knows? Who knows how long this is going to take? But, I mean, I already know what we can do for SSH, so. So some of the things they'll make you change is they will for sure have you that has to be set. That has to be set. So there's going to be a bunch of them that we need to go. Yeah, you can definitely harden a bootloader. Init, maybe you can do some stuff to init if you want, I guess. Most of that stuff, it's as you call it, you set the kernel params. That's most of the time what you do. But I mean, unless your organization's in the business of writing their own kernels, but I can tell you right now, if you download anything from any third party, or let's say you have a free and open source, FOSS, you have a contract with like Rocky or something. CIQ is the company that runs Rocky, and let's say you're paying them money, but then you go alter the kernel, they're no longer going to support the kernel. So most government and most like enterprise aren't going to be modifying their kernel themselves. So. Yeah, bootloader is a common surface to attack if you give. We sometimes talk about like layered security. I almost never have to worry about my bootloader because I'm almost always in a air-gapped environment. So I'm almost always in a completely air-gapped environment. By the way, while I'm waiting for this to come up, I could. Well, I don't want to go open that. I was going to say I could go reopen my I have the tool for the SEC. I showed it last week, not SEC, the Stig viewer tool, and we could go look at what these are, and we could actually go and start remediating them while that's running. That's taking a long time to run in the environment, probably just because it's got to scan so many things. And that's unfortunate because I think people would like to be able to see these. We could just skip the first one and harden it and then check the scan after, but I think it's nice to kind of compare them. So, Then when I'm all done with this, I get to do the same thing for the Unit 14, which is the one that I'm doing in about 2.5 hours here. We're going to do Unit 14. So, let's see. ProLUG projects. All right, so that's up. I'll get the worksheet and the lab up here as soon as I have this lab done. So that'll be coming up here soon. You guys will see that. Yeah, actually, so I do a lot with air-gapped systems, and I'm the guy who builds the Bastion hosts. So I've showed you guys how to do this before. It's also in my Discord. It's in my GitHub. How to harden a box, but then also how to build a Bastion host with a jailed environment for your users that come in. And that's very straightforward, but it's something that, like, until you build it, people are like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. It's totally a thing, and it works really well. You just need to spend some time with it. So, but actually, let's go find. Yeah, time syncing is important. Time syncing is definitely an important concept. I think I might have touched on that. Yeah, I haven't done much of anything with troubleshooting and time uptime yet. I do have troubleshooting coming up, though. I'm showing you guys some engineering troubleshooting. We're going to bust out. We're actually going to do, I'm going to make you guys do some work on that one. For people that stick with me until next week, this one, I think that one will be fun for people. Because we're going to do some fishbone diagrams. We're going to do some actual, like, Six Sigma troubleshooting and process engineering stuff. I think people will like that. So, that'll be good, I hope. But I got to get through these two first. So, here's what I'm going to do. Let's go find... Let's call this so I have a little bit of a break before the next part of the stream. Or before I go the next part where we're all hanging out and talking. But just know this, guys. In 2 hours, we're going to be down in the Discord hanging out. Anybody's welcome to hang out down there with us. It's free. And we'll be around for that stuff. All right. Let me go find somebody to raid on the Twitch side. Maybe somebody's hanging out and wants to talk about security stuff. See if there's anybody I'm following that's doing technology. Rob's doing some science and technology. We'll go right over to Rob. So our raid message is just this, if you have it. Hold on. Where is it? There. Do all the Linux. All right, we're going to start the raid up. I appreciate you guys coming by. I will see some of you later on here in a couple of hours.